Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm filming a tan girl friendly review on the new Natasha Denona midi Xenon eyeshadow palette. So if you guys want to hear my probably very unpopular opinion on this palette, then just keep watching. If you guys are new to my channel, welcome. My name is KARENHARRIS. I like to film tan girl friendly makeup videos here on YouTube. I do post quite often, so highly recommend subscribing, turning on that bell so you're notified every time I post. And without further blabbering, let's get into it. I usually start off all of my eyeshadow palette videos with like, I'm so excited to be playing with this palette. But truly, I am really nervous to be playing with this new Natasha Denona palette. I will say the packaging is absolutely stunning. It's a shiny black packaging, but it has like a speckle of shimmer running through it, and then the name is written in silver writing. So it's absolutely gorgeous. I did try to film some close-ups of the palette, so I'll go ahead and insert them if they are usable. And then the inside of the palette, honestly, 50 freaking shades of gray right here. I will say that on Natasha Denona's Instagram, I'll try and put the pictures up so you guys can see them. It looks like there's like a navy in this palette, and it looks like a baby pink perhaps, like this shade right here. I'm thinking maybe it's like a duochrome, because in person it definitely looks more of like a purpley taupey color. And then this shade, I think it just has like a really blue base to it, but it looks like a charcoal gray in the palette. I even tried to take some pictures of this, like a flat lay, and in the pictures you could see it looks more blue, but I took a picture without any artificial light on the palette, and then you could really see it, but the picture is pretty dark, so I don't know if I'll actually post that on my Instagram, but we'll see. But even like looking at it right now, I can see the blue in it, but if you really like look at it, it's just a really dark gray shade. And I suppose it's kind of like when you look at somebody with really dark hair, sometimes it can just look so dark that it almost has like a blue to it. I don't know, maybe that's what it is, and I don't really know why I'm having an extensive conversation about that, but I feel like I maybe had a little bit of hope that we had some fun undertones in this palette, but honestly it's literally just 50 shades of gray. And then to top it all off, I pulled out my mini Xenon palette because I just assumed, based off of how she does her mini palettes and her midi palettes, that the shades would be the same. Like from the mini palette, they would be included in the mini palette. But no. These are all different shades of black and gray. So I literally have every cool tone shade that I'm ever going to need. I did grab a few palettes that are in my existing collection to do some comparisons, so if you're interested in that, just stay to the end. But first impressions, unless this is like your color story, your jam, you're probably just fine with the mini palette. I literally just bought this because I love collecting her midi palettes. So we'll see. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to be able to do a look I like with this palette. I'm just saying, do I need this one if I have the mini? So that's all of my like first impression thoughts, just like word vomit all over you guys. But let's go ahead and try a look. I don't even know if I'm gonna do 2 looks, if I'm being honest with you guys. I mean, like, it's gonna be like a gray and a gray, so I'm not really sure. But I'm gonna start off with this shade called Snert. I really hope these aren't like swear words, because I've never heard of that word. So I'm just gonna put this on the crease with a ColourPop brush, and we're just gonna blend. Okay, so the next shade I'm gonna try is a shade called Blizzard. It's like a really light gray shade, and I'm just gonna put that on the edge of the shade Snert just to kind of blend a little bit. I'm trying to keep everything really light in the crease because I don't want this to turn into a very smoky look. Okay, so I think I'm going to play with some of the controversial colors in this palette on my lid, because this Ebb shade just has a ton of like blue to it, but it's honestly just a really dark gray, and Snowbow definitely has to go on my lid. But let's go into Night Sky and just deepen the crease up just a smidgen. And I'm really going to keep that on the outer corner. I can hear my mom talking to my toddler. It is so funny watching my parents be grandparents. Oh my goodness, my kid just gives them the workout of their lives. It's so funny. Okay, other than the fact that I don't love this color story, the shadows are performing so beautifully. This black is building up so nicely, and it's going exactly where I want it to go. It's not getting like too over the top. It's blending beautifully. I'm gonna add probably a little bit more, but I want to play with the shimmer shades first. So I definitely want to put Snowbow on my lids because that one looks so pinky in the photos, but I'm looking at it in real life and I don't see it. And the shade Ebb looks like a metallic blue and I don't see it in person. So I'm just so curious what kind of voodoo is going on here. So let's start off with Snowbow. I'm going to see if I can pick it up on a brush. I really dug into it. I was realizing when I was struggling with my shimmer shades the last few weeks, it was because I think my Milani setting spray, it was getting down to like the end and it was like very oily. And so it was like messing up the shimmers. So I realized I had to put it in my empties. That is a really pretty color. It looks like snow on my eyes, but I'm sure we can all agree there's really no pink to that. I mean, unless I really just can't see it and you guys can see something that I can't see. It's a beautiful color. It has like almost like a green like shift to it. This might be the prettiest color in the palette, I'm not gonna lie. It's absolutely stunning. I kind of want to try putting some on with my finger. Wow, that's a pretty color. Oh my goodness. And then I just want to take the black. I'm going to go into this shade called Sposh. And I'm going to try and intensify the outer corner with it just to see. And I'm going to go back into that brush that I use for the grays. And I'm just going to blend. Sorry, I was doing a lot of blending there. I think this look might love a wing liner. You guys know I'm in my wing liner era, so I might do that. But let me throw some eyeliner in the waterline quick so we can finish off this look. Okay, so for the lower lash line, I am going to probably use this shade Rhyme in the inner corner. As for the rest of it, I'm going to go in probably with Snert. And we're just going to run that right where I put the eyeliner and just kind of smoke that out some more. I don't want to get too far down because I don't want it to look super duper muddy. So I'm keeping it really close to the waterline in this case. And then I'm going to take Sposh and just kind of run a little bit of Sposh in between the outer corner and the waterline. And then I'm going to go into the shade Rhyme, which is like a silvery white shade, and we're just going to plop that right in the inner corner. That is such a pretty color. Also, this is super random, but any subscribers that are Gilmore Girls fans, I saw that this brand called Stone and Clover is doing like a Gilmore Girls collab, and I was like, oh, I miss talking about that show. So me and my mom used to watch it. Actually, my dad too. That was like our show. And I just remembered it all of a sudden, so I'm dying to know if you guys are also Gilmore Girls fans. Okay, the look is coming together pretty well. I'm just going to take that flat brush and go into Ebb just out of curiosity's sake. And I'm just going to plop some on the edge where I put the black eyeshadow just to see if there is any blue there. I just think it's like a black, a deep, deep black that it looks almost blue. Because sometimes, like, I know I have really dark hair. So it just is so dark that sometimes it looks like it's blue. And it might have like a blue sparkle in it, but it's definitely a gray in my opinion. Once you have this palette and you see it in person, tell me what you think. Okay, I'm just gonna put a little bit more of Snowbow on there. Snowbow is like my MVP shade of this palette. It's so stunning. Okay, I need to stop. I think the look really came together. So I'm going to put on some mascara, do the whole wing liner thing, throw on a lippy, blush, the works, do something with this hair, and I'll be right back to give you guys my first impression thoughts on the new Natasha Denona Midi Xenon palette. Okay, friends, so here is the finished look. What do you guys think? Definitely let me know in the comments. In case you're wondering what this lip color is, it's actually from the Unearthly Devour collection. This is the satin liquid lipstick in the shade Destroy, and it's like a cementy gray, kind of green gray shade. And I was like, well, if there was ever a time to wear this lip color, I feel like this video is it. So I committed, and this is what we ended up with. So yeah, let me know your feelings on this look. Now, before I give you guys my first impression thoughts on this palette, let's just do some quick little comparisons now. One that I feel like so many of you commented on my community tab post saying that ColourPop palette looks awful lot like the new Natasha Denona palette. So here we are. Let's hold them up side by side. I definitely feel like these palettes would pair really well together, but also the Natasha Denona one I feel like has all of these shades. I guess the Cloud 9 palette does have a few more taupes in it. But overall, both of these palettes, I mean, this one I would not have bought if ColourPop hadn't sent it to me. And this one I wouldn't have bought if it wasn't Natasha Denona. I did buy the Glamlite Scream palette. I caved and I bought it because I was buying the Friday the 13th palette anyway. So I was like, let me just get the Scream palette. I don't have that palette with me yet because it hasn't arrived. But I feel like this and that would be very interesting to see side by side. But I just wanted to show it to you guys next to the Cloud 9 because I feel like so many people were saying like, oh, those look so similar. And I was like, I don't see it, but maybe you guys do. Here's just the mini Xenon next to the midi Xenon. So in case you were wondering, I feel like you really don't need the midi if you have the mini, but the midi does have some really beautiful like shimmery tones that go from like taupes to gray to silver, so that might be a fun addition. I personally don't love cool tones, but if I'm gonna wear cool tones, I love seeing palettes like this. So I did grab my Chucky palette. Now this is like a manageable cool tone palette for me. And I also want to highlight this Jewel and Gems palette from Oden's Eye. This is more my speed when it comes to cool tones. But I just wanted to show you those two side by side as well. And then I did grab my Smoke Show palette. I believe ColourPop did change the name of this palette. But obviously these grayscale palettes have been around now for quite some time. And I will say I never reach for that one in my collection. Hopefully I'll reach for the mini or the midi Xenon a little bit more than the ColourPop ones, but honestly it's not looking good. And then I grabbed the Melt and Beetlejuice palette. I think the Beetlejuice one definitely looks more like the Chucky palette, but it does have that row of like cool tone grays in it. So just wanted to show you those two side by side as well. If you can think of any other palettes that you are planning on using as a dupe to the mini Xenon palette, definitely leave me a comment down below. I'm sure there's so many people out there that really love cool tone palettes like this that are probably going to be looking for dupes, so if you guys have any ideas, definitely mention those in the comments. Okay, so now that we're done with comparisons, let's go ahead and talk about this palette really quick. Now, I will be honest, I'm not a big fan of cool tone eyeshadows on me. For the longest time, I stayed away from cool tones. I was strictly a warm tone gal, but I have tried to expand my horizons because I wasn't always a colorful eyeshadow lover either. So I figure let's give it a chance. And you guys always compliment me when I wear shades like this, which I find really shocking because I just don't find them very flattering on me. I will say I really like this eye look. I did take a look at it while I was doing my hair and I was like, it's actually pretty cute. Like, I would wear this eyeshadow look. It's just that I prefer more colorful eyeshadows or more warm tone eyeshadows. So it really depends on the day, but I could totally see myself wearing this like for New Year's, maybe Halloween, maybe even the holidays. So it's not like I'm never gonna wear it, but I just prefer warm tone palettes. Now, quality wise, 10 out of 10. Feels amazing, very smooth, very buttery, very pigmented, very blendable. I wouldn't have expected any less from Natasha. I will say I do like this color story still a little bit better than the Retro Glam. I really did not like that color story. It was just so ashy. So at least this has like some really good blacks, and if you're a smoky eye gal, like this is gonna be like your go-to palette. And there are some people out there that wear black eyeshadow every day. So I feel like this is definitely going to go straight into their makeup collection, and I'm just so happy for them. So anyway, I had a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie. I had fun kind of getting out of the box, trying on some black eyeshadow, trying to make this eye look not look like I had two black eyes, which I feel like I did. I feel very glam. I feel very beautiful. I don't hate it. I thought I was going to hate it, but I will say I definitely didn't buy this palette thinking like it's going to be my #1 palette of 2023. So if you were expecting a review or a first impressions that was from the perspective of somebody that was going into this knowing they were going to love this palette, this is not it. So I hope you're not too disappointed. I also just want to remind you guys that I did pick my palette up from the Natasha Denona website. I do have an affiliate code that'll save you, I think, 15% on anything on her website. It's just KHMAKEUP, and I will link it down below. It's also available now on Sephora.com as well as Ulta, and I think it's also on Beautylish. So I will link all those retailers down below if you guys are considering picking this palette up or shopping from any of those retailers. If you do use my link, it does support my channel because I will make a small commission. I will have my Sephora sale recommendations video going live either tomorrow or on Friday, so stay tuned for that. I'm so excited. I have some things that are on my wish list that I've been patiently waiting to pick up as well, so we'll chat about all of that very soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye, guys!